question on your voting experience, it was actually leaning more towards the how long were the lines or anything like that. Which
no, because the lines weren't that bad, but the experience of me going, I actually was like in front of there. I was like, if I vote for this guy, Zeno's gonna have some shit to say. He's gonna have that little smirk that he had in his face when I explained it right now. And you had that little smirk. By the way, just in case if nobody got it, this was Zeno's face while I was describing me voting for Biden.
look.
But anyways,
Fact of the matter is, I didn't think there was any chance that you would not vote for Biden, especially when you saw how close the race was. Even though you had been saying it, just because
you don't know me like you know me, sir. Okay,
right. Just because at the end of the day, I know that there's one side that can actually help the causes that you care about more so. And you're right. I mean, Obama has a lot of blood on his ledger. No doubt about it, right? But the thing is, and I hate to use the terminology less of two evils, but that's really what politics comes down to. Which one is
our politics?
Yeah, I mean, no, world politics. It's everywhere.
A lot of world politics, but at least feel like with so British politics is really interesting. Have you ever read a British politics? I'm assuming you have.
I know how it works. Yeah,
and you guys have a lot better world history than we do. You have world history where your history is actually world history, where our history is American history. Oh, and then some other people did some other stuff too.
How American history connects to world history.
Exactly. So it's interesting with British politics because like apparently it's like a bunch of different parties go for each other, and then what ends up happening is this one party knows, hey, I'm not going to win, so they decide to the closest one on their end, and it kind of keeps
they coalesce
breaking down until it gets to a certain point. But I didn't know you're not voting for a politician. You're not voting for you're voting for the party.
You're voting because basically the way the parliamentary system works is like how the House works here. Right. So
for like Senate, you're really voting for the party to vote for the House leader.
Yeah, exactly. So in essence, Boris Johnson over there is Nancy Pelosi, right? Because the Democrats won the most seats, Nancy Pelosi is Speaker of the House. Same thing, because the Tories won the most seats, then Boris Johnson is the Prime Minister. They don't have a president, because it's a constitutional monarchy. So their quote unquote president would really be the Queen, even though she's more of a figurehead. She signs off on things that they want to do, but I mean, she couldn't really say no. I mean, they'll be like, all right, then we'll just do it anyway. But yeah, they work more like the way how our House works. The crazy thing is they can decide whenever they want to hold an election. They're like, okay, election time. It's crazy, yeah.
That might have worked here. That would have been good here. It was like 2017. We probably would have had another election.
Yeah. Now, sometimes they do have elections to like within the party to choose the next party leader who would be prime minister. I believe they did that when Theresa May decided to step down, and it was like this one guy who used to be a caddy for Prince William. It was Boris Johnson. It was like someone else.
So I'm going to tell you right now, as far as this, if Biden wins, I have a feeling it's not going to be vitriol like it was with Trump. But Biden is probably going to realize that, because you're right, there are a lot more progressive people involved in the party now. What's going to happen is Biden and then probably Kamala, right? Because apparently a lot of people think Biden's is going to choose to die within the first year of his presidency. Kamala Harris is going to be the president or whatever. What's going to happen is I do hope that people like AOC, the squad, because I think the squad got one person larger. I forget her name, but there was a person who she kind of like basically said, "I'm part of the squad now too." It's like another woman.
Someone that just won.
Yeah.
Won her primary in a very blue area. So basically, she's gonna be in Congress.
Yeah, and then they basically said that she is now the new squad member because she's just as progressive or whatever.
Oh, I think you might be talking about Cori Bush, the black lady in Missouri. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because she was in that documentary, that Netflix documentary.
Yes, you're right. She was. Okay, so she's definitely in there. Like she was just like I was just late to the party, but
I was thinking of someone else. But yeah, no, she's progressive.
So now you have what is that, 5 in the squad?
5, and then a sixth one that says I'm a progressive too.
Who's that?
I can't remember her name, but that was the point I was trying to make too. Like the party is moving in that direction. It might be slow, but it is.
I think the problem is the party is moving in that direction, but it has to be. It's unfortunately it's only in particular thing. Because the thing with Raphael Warnock, which by the way, that's why I also voted for. I know you did too. The thing with Raphael Warnock's probably not that progressive, but he sure is a lot more progressive than
whoever else is on the ballot.
Did you get real quickly? Did you get a survey call about? I did from a thing called BK Solutions, I think, where they were trying to survey me. Yeah,
like exit polling.
Like a one of the, what is it called? The one
exit polling.
Exit polling that they did. No, not exit polling. The one that they did on the one that Bush used against McCain to push McCain out.
Robocalls.
Yeah, but there's a particular name for that. I forget what it's called. Shit. Anyways, I was gonna hang up on them if it was something like that. It's like, what would you say if you found out Raphael Warnock killed 2 puppies and didn't report it to the, you know what I mean? Like just doing something like that. But it was just basically asking like favorable, unfavorable, and then there was like, how do you feel about Loeffler? I was like, do you have fucking unfavorable on on your thing? Because it was like, but anyways, Raphael Warnock doesn't necessarily have to be progressive, not here in Georgia, right? But it would make. But the thing is, I guess is kind of annoying is it just has to be particular states that have to be able to put those people in first, right? And because then there's other states like, look, how Mitch McConnell is winning his how many elections?
I think this is his 6th that he's going.
Where he is literally the most unpopular person. He's probably the most unpopular person in the country, second to Trump.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Right. So I think that's one of the biggest issues that a lot of progressive people have, right? But as I was saying before we got into this whole debate that, you know, I felt like Zeno was just overly angry. I wasn't angry. I don't know what you think. But is in states that are relatively blue, vote green. Get them to 5%. Because more parties will not hurt. Right?
Or in states that are overwhelmingly red, yeah.
Vote green, get those. But unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because you just kind of feel like they put you into this kind of situation where you have to vote for these guys, that the lesser of 2 evils, right? And it's kind of like, I think.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Is it vote green or vote for the most viable third party? Because, like you mentioned, green wasn't on our ballots. So why wouldn't you say vote libertarian?
Because it's libertarian.
To get, well, I mean, but libertarian seems closest to getting to 5%.
Who's the one libertarian that you know?
Gary Johnson. Whatever.
No, there's another one.
Oh, Ron Paul. No.
Exactly. That's why you don't vote libertarian. So
because he spawned Rand Paul.
Exactly. So yeah, that's why I'm saying vote green. And also it feels like green is probably the closest like actual party that's closest to the Democrat. It's the most progressive party, and it's just the Libertarian Party does have a vote. They do have a platform now, right? It's just the only thing I don't like. The only thing about the thing about the Progressive Party. Do you think the Progressive Party doesn't have a clear idea of what they like, of what they want?
No, I think it's the opposite. I think the Progressive Party, or the progressive wing of the party, is too rigid in what they want and unwilling to bend.
That's not true because AOC is progressive, and you see she was willing to bend. So The Libertarian Party that I have with is, if you ever listen to them, they tend to attach themselves to something that's winning at the time, but then they contradict. So like they're all for, you know how they're all for freedoms of Americans and the freedom.
Yeah, government keeping their hands out of everything.
But then they don't speak up on certain things where the government isn't literally infringing on people, like because somebody was like, hey, libertarians, so the people are over there protesting for the freedom of life, why aren't you over there fighting with them? Because they're literally asking for the government, i.e. the police, to stop killing them indiscriminately. And they're like, well, the police has a right to, you know what I mean? So that's kind of like one of those, like,
yeah, they're contradictory.
Exactly.
Okay, well, real quick. Before I answer that, when did you vote? What day?
Friday.
Okay, so fifth day of voting. Is that 7?
7 o'clock in the morning too. And anytime I early vote, I always try to vote right before work.
Okay.
Because I tend to find the lines that are smaller. But my time, this is the first time I actually had a line. Which is funny because I also had a line in the primary, yeah. But the line was quick. It was because I got there like at 7:15. I was still out of there by like 7:45.
Okay, pretty good. So, but fifth day of voting, you got there at 7 a.m. and there was still 7:15 and there was still a line. It took 30 minutes. I voted on the first day of voting. Probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because I voted in Cobb County, and I thought that I could go at lunchtime. Maybe take an hour and a half and then be back. I got there around 12:15, I think. Ended up leaving there like 3:30.
You remember Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder?
Say that again? Oh, Robert Downey Jr. Okay,
In Tropic Thunder? You never go full.
Oh yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So I went full. So the line took 3 hours.
Jesus.
There were 6 like voting like kiosks, if you will. It kind of looks like this.
That's the thing I was gonna ask you. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We had 12.
Yeah, we had 6. So
aren't you in a relatively
large county?
Large county, white area too?
Yeah, we are. But it's a county that there's a District 6 is in there. We voted for Lucy McBath, Democrat. But I'm in District 11. Somehow I'm in 11, but just a mile from there where my polling location is technically 6. So, and there's a sign for Karen Handel, which is definitely less than 150 feet from the polling place, and no one did anything about it. But
it's supposed to be 150 feet?
Yeah, from the outer bounds of the polling location.
I wonder if ours was less than 150 feet, because ours is at a park, and there's the street to the park, and then there's the entrance to the park, and then I guess that would be about 150 feet away from the park. So you're saying it was like literally like close to the park? It's
right there. I was like, what the hell? Now the sheriff, Craig Owens, the guy running for sheriff, he was sitting there at a traffic light about like 150 feet from it, holding his thing up. And we're walking like, oh damn, that's you. He's like, yeah, vote for me. I was like, yeah, cool, all right. So I voted for Craig Owens for sheriff. So it was 3 hours long. There were a couple of lovely ladies in front of us. One is a teacher. She's like, I want to say upper 40s, lower 50s, talking about, how she's like worried about, in school learning and all that stuff. Obviously the pandemic was front of mind. And another one was, she was around my age. She's from Massachusetts. She had recently just moved down to the Marietta area with her husband, who's Dominican, like a few months earlier. So she's like a first-time Georgia voter, and she was like, she's never seen voting lines this long in Massachusetts. It's usually like get in, get out.
Massachusetts is relatively red or blue?
Blue, very. And that's just a trend, right? Like usually in red states is where you find that it's so much harder to vote and longer voting lines?
No, in red states, you tend to find it harder to vote in areas that are blue within that red state.
Yeah, like more the cities and where you have urban populations packed. So I mean, and I've talked about what happened in Kansas, in Dodge, Kansas, where they had one polling location for all the people in Dodge, which is 70% Hispanic, and then they went and moved that one polling location out of Dodge, and everyone in Dodge actually had to take a bus to the polling location outside of Dodge to vote. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the problem is we didn't touch on it this episode. We probably will discuss on it, I guess, once they actually, if that happens, which is the confirmation of the Supreme Court.
Amy Coney Barrett. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll probably, but it's just one of those things. It's like we're the single probably worst country, I think, the single worst developed country when it comes to voting rights.
Yeah.
We touched on it. The Civil Rights Voting Rights Act that has to be renewed recently.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it's not an actual law, meaning it's like a non-removable law, that's ridiculous.
Like making an amendment, and it can be a constitutional amendment, and have it fixed in there.
Yeah. So it's just. But did you see that website that I showed you, the one that's ballotpedia.org, where you can look for amendments within? Did you have any amendments on your
There were 4 of them. I voted no on one of them. I think I misunderstood it a little, but it was essentially something about giving it sounded like it was about tax breaks for charitable contributions or whatever. And in my mind, I just thought like tax breaks for churches. And I said no.
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so, but apparently that's not what it was about. Apparently it was something that Democrats like. I was like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, so I think this is the one you're talking about. So I had 3 on mine, so you might have had one. I think I had a 4th one, but I don't think that one was in this. But I read it and I looked over and I was like, it sounds like it was okay. Yeah. But it was like, so the one that you're talking about was called Georgia Amendment 1. The dedicating tax and fee revenue amendment is on the ballot in Georgia as basically what it is a vote for yes supports authorizing the Georgia legislature to dedicate tax or fee revenues to the public purpose for which the taxes or fees were imposed. So basically, that's not the one.
That's a different one.
So that one, what that basically means is you can't, there's a tax and a fee basically designed to do one thing. A lot of things what were happening is people were using those taxes and fees to implement something else that they're not designed for. And whatever these are designed for is basically to, what's it called? For the public. They were doing it for public, taking money out of the public and doing it probably to private stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that was an amendment here. And I think, let's see the other one. That's Amendment 1. Amendment 2 is, why the hell? Oh, okay. I got to put some, hold on. Oh, is it no longer working because it's over? What the hell? Oh, internet's slow, guys. I'm in the.
Okay, don't worry about it. Anyway, I voted no on one and yes on the other ones. It was an okay experience. It was a pleasant experience because I went with my friend that I go to vote every time with, and it's a good opportunity to like catch up, talk to other people in line and all that stuff. So I always encourage.
So you conversate with people online?
Yeah. So I always encourage people to go with a friend. There's no reason why voting has to be an arduous process.
So my question to you is: next time that there's a vote, do you want to be with me at 7 o'clock in the morning?
Well, I think we're in different counties, first of all, so it probably won't work. I mean, honestly, if I thought about this, I probably would have done early morning as well. But I saw in some places, like I think it was Gwinnett, on the first day of voting, there were some people who had been in line for like 6-7 hours. I mean, that's ridiculous. That never should be the case.
There were some areas. I don't know if it was in Georgia, but I know that they were talking about people had to wait 12 hours.
Yeah, that shouldn't be the case ever.
Wait 12 hours to vote.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then not only that, but then Just recently, I saw somewhere that they said that somebody purposely destroyed a ballot box by
in
making it,
California, right?
and it's just like, yo, dude, like, let people vote. Like, why you gotta be worried
Yeah,
about?
I mean, most people would think that, hey, maybe we should make our policies such that our constituents want to vote us back in,
Yeah,
not let me destroy my constituents' right to vote so that I can remain in office. Which is what we're seeing, and it's sad.
it's
It's
sad. It's pathetic.
banana republic type of stuff. But yeah, all right. That wraps up our conversation about our voting experience.